Hey guys, welcome back to Twin Flicks. Once again, I'm Paul, and if you're new to this channel, we give honest, detailed reviews to new Blu-ray releases, mainly reissued Blu-ray releases from different home media outlets. So if you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button and be part of the Twin Flicks family and help support physical media. Well guys, today we were sent an awesome collection from Arrow Video, and it is the Sister Street Fighter Blu-ray collection. Now guys, I was thrilled to get this collection from Arrow Video. I'm a sucker for 70s martial art movies, and these are some of the best. Now since we are reviewing all 4 Blu-rays, this video will be a little bit longer than normal because I am going to be reviewing each individual Blu-ray and the quality, along with the Blu-Ray specs. Now since all 4 films do offer identical specs, the Blu-ray specs for all 4 films are as follows. Sister Street Fighter is presented from Arrow Video, all 4 films as a collector's edition, and is sourced from the original 35mm print and restored with a new HD 1080p transfer and a 2K scan. And it offers a new 1.0 mono audio track in the original Japanese language with English subtitles. And it maintains the original theatrical aspect ratio of 2.35 to 1, meaning that you will have the black bars on the top and bottom like this. Alright guys, well, on to the review. First up, we have the one that started it all, Sister Street Fighter. Alright guys, so the video quality, it has a nice color palette with some great contrast and saturation levels, boosting the color palette, especially with the blues and reds that really do pop. Sharpness and clarity levels looks very good with some fine detail and textural levels, from close-ups of faces to buildings, interior and exterior, down to clothing. There are some scenes where the grain can be pretty heavy at times, while other times it's barely noticeable. Skin tones look fairly natural, and I didn't notice much in the way of overly orangish or reddish skin tones. Overall, the black levels are very solid, and I didn't notice anything in the way of flickering on the edges or overly heavy grain issues. This is a great looking Blu-ray I was quite impressed with. Alright guys, well now let's get into the audio transfer. Sister Street Fighter has a PCM 1.0 mono audio mix in the original Japanese language. It has some very nice fidelity. Dialogue all sounded great and clear and easy to understand. The score and sound effects actually has a good amount of force to it that I was really surprised by. The dialogue, music, and sound effects levels are all well balanced, and I found that none overpowers the other. I also didn't find any problems with audio dropouts or distortion. This is a nice and healthy audio mix. Alright guys, well, let's get into the next one. Sister Street Fighter Hanging by a Thread. So Sister Street Fighter Hanging by a Thread exhibits many of the same qualities as Sister Street Fighter. The biggest difference, however, was the saturation and contrast levels are seem to be more consistent throughout this film. And the only problem I found was there was some damage that's noticeable in the form of some minor debris and specks throughout the film, more noticeable in the black levels and in night scenes and dimly lit scenes. As with Sister Street Fighter, the colors of reds and blues and yellows also really pop and look absolutely fantastic. Except I did notice that some of the reds seem to have a little orangish tint to it later on in the film, and some of the colors do look a little faded. Overall, guys, aside from some very minor problems here and there, just like with Sister Street Fighter, this is a very healthy looking video transfer I was really happy with. Alright guys, well, let's get into the audio quality. Well, just like with Sister Street Fighter, this also has a PCM 1.0 mono Japanese track. Now, after watching the whole collection, I must say that this one does have the most noticeable problems with distortion and cracking and hisses. And it shows right off the bat with the opening logo when we hear the first scream and the high whistling sound effects. It's pretty noticeable, the audio distortion, and this does carry on throughout the film. Dialogue, however, sounds great and very clean and good, and it didn't have any problems with it. It sounds really good and clear. Aside from some of the audio distortion, this is a nice sounding audio mix. Alright guys, next up we have Return Sister Street Fighter. Now guys, I have to say, hands down, Return of Sister Street Fighter offers some of the best quality as far as saturation and color palette. It's especially impressive throughout the presentation of the film. I noticed there is some fluctuations, however, in color temperature here and there. For example, the reds in the opening credits look great and spot on. Then a few minutes later, it looks slightly brownish. And then moments later, it looks spot on once again. But it's not consistent throughout the film or bothersome. It's just here and there. The reds aren't the only good looking aspect of the color palette. The blues are also on high and look extremely deep. There are some scenes in a nightclub that really popped out at me with the lights and the neon signs. All the colors look really great. Skin tones also look natural, and I didn't notice anything with any overly orangish or reddish to them. Even though it does have some very minor problems, out of the 4 films of the set, I honestly have to say this is probably the best looking one. Alright guys, let's get into the audio. Once again, as with the previous 2 films, this also has a PCM 1.0 mono audio track in Japanese, and this audio track has a lot of energy to it. It reverberates with a lot of force behind it. The sound effects also sound great. However, I did notice at times some of the sound effects was a little boxy at times with some of the high-end frequency effects. Dialogue is cleanly rendered throughout, and unlike the second film, there's no audio distortion or dropouts whatsoever. This is a great and healthy sounding audio track. Alright guys, now for our 4th and last review with Sister Street Fighter, the 5th level. The video transfer, I felt, has the most consistency as far as clarity, along with some nice defined details, but it also surprisingly has a lot of age-related wear and tear to it, with debris and artifacts throughout, and also some grain, but it's definitely not a deal breaker. As with Return of Sister Street Fighter, this is the second best and healthiest looking video transfer out of the pack. The color palette looks great, with some nice reds and blues that pop, and looks great with a healthy amount of saturation and contrast levels. It really gives it a nice boost. I was also surprised at how well close-ups look, with some nice detail with the skin tones. And the film does have some flashback sequences in black and white that looks really great. The gray and the black and white just looks very clean. Alright guys, let's get into the audio. As with the others, this also features a PCM 1.0 mono audio track in Japanese, and this is a great sounding audio track. However, I did notice that sound effects do sound a little boxy at times and shallow from time to time. The score sounded great with some nice energy and sounded full. Dialogue is clean and clear and easy to understand. Sound effects sound great too, and I didn't notice any problems as far as audio distortion or wear and tear, like hisses and things like that. This is a nice and healthy sounding audio track. Now, out of the entire set, the biggest issue I found with each disc isn't even the transfer quality at all, but with the pop-up menu option. To quickly access audio or subtitles, instead you have to go to the main menu to switch the audio and the subtitles, which was kind of a pain. You can't just pop it up during the film. Alright guys, well let's get into Blu-Ray Extras. Includes a cut version of the film that was only available in the US. It also includes a 2016 interview with legendary actor Sonny China, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, which runs 10 minutes. Also a 2016 interview with the director, which runs 10 minutes. A 2016 interview with one of the writers, which runs 11 minutes. And selected cues of the film score, which runs 12 minutes. And it includes the German opening titles, which runs 2 minutes, and theatrical trailers. Alright guys, now let's get into Disc 2. Disc 2 includes selected cues of the score from each film, and that runs 25 minutes, and it includes the theatrical trailers for all the films. It also includes artwork exclusively for this Arrow video release, and it includes a 52-page, I believe it's a 52-page booklet. Alright guys, let's get into Blu-Ray Scores. Now the scores are for all 4 Blu-rays. So for the video, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. The audio, a 3.5 out of 5. As for the extras, a 5 out of 5. The overall Blu-ray score for Sister Street Fighter 4-disc movie collection, a 4 out of 5. As for the movies themselves, I'm going to also give them a 4 out of 5. Now guys, with this video review, I wanted to keep it reasonably short, so I wasn't able to go into as much detail as I wanted to with these films. I will say that even though there are some very minor problems with each one of the masters, of course, I cannot blame Arrow Video for this at all. You have to remember that these are lower budget foreign films and from the 70s. They're over 40 years old. And you are going to have some wear and tear with the film stock. You just can't help it. But I will say this, that some of the issues that it does have actually brought a lot of charm to each one of the films. It felt like I was watching the original 35mm print instead of a nice, clean, pristine Blu-ray, which again brought a lot more charm to the movies. Sister Street Fighter, the 4-film movie collection, is now available on Blu-ray from Arrow Video and ranges from 50 to 60 bucks depending where you pick it up, or you can order it down below in the link. Well guys, that's it. That's the end of our Blu-ray review for Sister Street Fighter collection. I want to give a big thanks to Arrow Video for sending us out this Blu-ray and letting us review it for you guys. But most importantly, I want to thank all of you guys out there for supporting our little channel here. It truly means a lot to us. So guys, stay tuned for some more Blu-ray reviews that we have coming up that we're excited about for May and June. And also guys, stay tuned for some other videos that I've been working on over the past year that I'm excited to share with you guys. And guys, head over to our Patreon page, check it out, see how you can support the show, be part of the show, and get some free stuff. And as always, I'll see you in the future.